Welcome back to Funding Fundamentals, CWELCC Cost-Based Funding Explained, the podcast where we demystify the Canada-wide early learning and childcare cost-based funding, one episode at a time. I'm Ashley McMillan, your host, here to guide you through the complexities of funding and what it all means for childcare providers. But here's the twist. Our special guests, who will help us demystify these topics, they aren't human. They are AI-generated voices with a knack for breaking things down, crushing the numbers, and maybe even throwing in a little digital wit. This limited series is here to make funding fundamentals clear. So let's decode CWELCC with the help of voices that never get tired. Let's hear from our special guests.
Okay, welcome everyone to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're jumping into a bunch of sources you shared with us. They're all focused on something really critical.
Yeah, how to get smart, basically, about planning and prep when you're handling funding.
Exactly. And we're looking especially through the lens of cost-based models.
Right. That specific context brings its own challenges.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty straightforward. We want to take what these sources are saying, the ideas, the rules, the steps, and pull out the really crucial, actionable bits.
It's about turning the what into the how.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving from just knowing what cost-based funding involves or like what counts as an eligible expense
To knowing exactly how to manage that money day to day.
and year to year. And importantly, how to be totally ready if reporting questions come up or, for an audit.
Mm-hmm. And the sources are quite good on this. They don't just give you theory.
No, they really lay out practical steps.
Yeah, they offer a kind of pathway, suggesting concrete things you can actually do to make it all less stressful and, frankly, more effective.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack, this practical path laid out in the material. So let's start with the very first step the sources highlight.
Okay, so the sources really emphasize that, before you even think about spending or tracking in detail, you need a foundation.
Right.
Step one, as they put it, is build a funding calendar.
Okay, build a funding calendar. Seems simple enough.
Well, yes and no. You might think, okay, obvious. But the why behind it, especially for this kind of funding, is important.
More than just deadlines.
Yeah, it's about avoiding that last-minute panic, sure.
Yep.
But it's also your proactive shield against missing dates that could seriously mess with your compliance or even your cash flow.
Oh.
Just bring some structure, some predictability to what can feel pretty chaotic otherwise.
And the sources get specific, right, about what needs to be on that calendar.
They do.
They mention tracking when your monthly funding payments are actually supposed to land.
Crucial. Knowing when the cash is coming in is fundamental for planning.
And then, just as vital, all your reporting deadlines.
Yep. Plotting those out visually, seeing the whole year, it makes a huge difference in staying ahead.
It's not just a reminder list, then.
No, it's more like a strategic map for your funding year.
Okay, that makes sense. So you've got your map, your calendar. What comes next in the material as the money starts flowing?
Right. The second key action is all about how you handle things in the moment.
Real-time management.
Exactly. Step two, track expenses in real time.
Ah, okay. This feels like a big one.
It is. This is probably where many organizations stumble a bit. And it's also where doing it right gives you the biggest payoff later.
Because trying to piece it together afterwards is just...
It's a nightmare. Trying to recreate spending records months down the line, it's incredibly hard. And, errors creep in so easily.
So tracking in real time just makes reporting
way easier. And audits, significantly less painful, trust me.
Okay, so how do the sources say to do this, practically speaking?
They're pretty clear. First, don't wait. Not till the end of the quarter, definitely not till the end of the year.
Use a tool.
Yeah, use something. A simple spreadsheet can work, or, proper accounting software if you have it. The key isn't just the dollar amount, though.
It's categories.
Yes. Break down spending by category. They list examples like wages, supplies, rent, the typical eligible stuff in this context.
And labeling.
Crucial. Especially with funding like CWELCC that often has very specific rules. You have to clearly label each expense.
And link it back.
And link it to the right funding stream it came from. That link is essential. It shows money was used as intended.
That makes sense. I can see how failing to link an expense clearly could be a major red flag in an audit.
It's a super common pitfall. Real-time tracking kind of forces you into that discipline from the start.
Yeah, that discipline up front saves a massive headache later. Okay, speaking of avoiding headaches, the third strategy the sources talk about is organization, right?
Absolutely. which leads us straight into step 3. Keep a digital audit folder.
A digital audit folder. Okay.
Think of this as your funding safety net, maybe your command center.
Right.
In this kind of funding environment, keeping meticulous records isn't optional, it's essential.
Non-negotiable.
Exactly. And having everything relevant pulled together, organized, easily accessible, and digital. It's just invaluable.
Not just for audits, then.
No. Also for quick lookups when you have a question, or even when you're planning next year's budget, it's all there.
And the sources list specific things that must be in this folder, right? For each funding year?
Yes, they're very specific. You need your official funding allocation letter that's ground zero,
Okay.
copies of any budget submissions you made during the year, your monthly expense reports, hopefully generated from that real-time tracking we just talked about,
Right.
all the backup, receipts, invoices, vendor statements, everything.
Payroll, too.
Definitely payroll records, especially if a big chunk of the funding is tied to wages.
Which it often is.
All right. And any official emails or letters back and forth with your municipality about the funding
So basically, anything and everything related to that year's funding.
in one secure digital spot.
The digital part seems key there.
Oh, huge advantage. Searchability, easy backups, sharing with team members if needed. It's way better than a dusty binder somewhere.
Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, here's a step that maybe gets overlooked sometimes. It's not just about the numbers or the files.
Ah, you mean communication.
Yeah, the sources include communication as a key step.
Absolutely. Step 4, communicate early and often
Oh, with who?
with your funding contacts.
Yeah.
Usually in the CLLCC world, that's someone at the municipal level.
And the idea is, don't wait for problems.
Exactly. Don't wait for them to find potential issues during reporting or an audit. Be proactive.
Reach out when things change.
Yes. Or even just when you're unsure about something. It builds trust. It shows you're trying to do things right.
And it lets you fix things before they become a compliance mess.
Oh, precisely. You get guidance early on.
Do the sources give examples of when to reach out?
They do. Like if something significant changes in your operations or finances, maybe enrollment suddenly drops, affecting your revenue projections.
Or costs go up unexpectedly, like rent.
Exactly. Give them that context. And crucially, if you're ever unsure if a particular expense is actually eligible under the guidelines,
Ask first.
ask first. The sources strongly advise asking your municipal contact before you spend the money.
Much easier than trying to justify it after the fact.
Way easier. That preemptive question can save a lot of hassle and maybe even disallowed costs later.
Okay, good advice. Right, so that's 4 steps. The 5th one kind of ties things together, reviewing and adjusting.
Yes, that's step 5. Reflect and adjust.
Because managing this stuff isn't just set it and forget it.
Definitely not. Especially with complex funding. This step is about deliberately pausing, looking at where you stand financially relative to the funding.
Seeing if you're on track.
Yeah, and using that insight to make smart decisions moving forward. It's where you spot if you're spending roughly as planned, or if there are big areas of over or underspending.
And figuring out why.
Exactly. Understanding the why is key.
Do the sources suggest how often to do this reflection?
They do. They recommend doing it at the end of each quarter.
Okay, a quarterly check-in.
And they even suggest a time frame. Just take 30 minutes or so.
To do what specifically?
Look at the funding you've received versus what you've spent based on your real-time tracking.
Right.
Then use what you learned from that quick review to tweak your plans or operations for the next quarter.
So, like, if you're underspending on supplies.
Maybe you can invest a bit more there. Or if wages are running higher than budgeted, you need to understand why and adjust.
And doing this quarterly makes year-end reporting less of a nightmare.
Much less daunting. You've already been looking at the data throughout the year. The year-end report becomes more about pulling together insights you've already processed.
Instead of a mad scramble in December. Okay, that makes a ton of sense. Now, besides these 5 steps, the sources also threw in a bonus tip, didn't they?
They did. A really practical reminder, actually.
It is.
Basically, use the tools available.
Yeah.
You're not expected to figure all this out in a vacuum.
Right. There are resources out there designed to help.
Yeah, resources specifically created to help you understand and manage this type of funding properly and, stay compliant.
And they pointed to 2 specific things.
Yep. First, the actual funding guidelines themselves.
The rule book.
The rule book. Yeah, they can be dense sometimes, but you have to know what's in them. Get familiar.
And the second tool.
The Children's Services Municipal Support Team.
the people administering the funds.
Right. They're the ones who can clarify things, answer your questions about eligibility, reporting, compliance issues.
So don't be afraid to call them.
Definitely not. The sources stress reaching out. That's literally what they're talking about.
Okay. Engaging with those is like another layer of being proactive.
Exactly. Proactive compliance, risk mitigation.
Yeah.
It all fits together.
So if we step back from this deep dive, look at everything the sources presented, the main message seems really clear.
Yeah, I think so.
Managing cost-based funding like CWIL LCC, it's a powerful tool for your work, a real enabler.
Right.
But its power really only gets unlocked if you approach it intentionally.
Right. With practical strategies for planning,
Consistent tracking,
meticulous organization,
proactive communication.
and that regular reflection piece.
These aren't just extra admin tasks the sources are suggesting.
No, they're framing them as the foundation for being financially healthy and accountable with public funds.
Yeah. And the material connects this back to the bigger picture, doesn't it?
It does, which is really the whole point.
By doing these practical steps, by managing the funding confidently, being audit ready.
You cut down on stress, you reduce that administrative burden.
Which frees you up.
Frees up your time, your energy, your resources to focus on the main thing. Delivering high-quality care and programming for kids and families.
And that's really why we dig into sources like these, right? To help you feel more confident, more informed, just genuinely empowered when it comes to handling important funding.
Exactly. Less uncertainty, more focus on the mission.
Okay, so let's leave you with a final thought to chew on, something that comes directly from the overall theme in these sources.
Okay.
If really getting a handle on these financial management processes, understanding them, mastering them, allows an organization to focus more effectively on the quality of care. What other connections might be there? What unexplored links might exist between, say, the precision of your financial operations and the direct, tangible outcomes for the children and families you serve?
That's an interesting question. Financial health enabling programmatic excellence in ways we haven't fully mapped out yet.
Yeah, something to think about.
That's a wrap for this limited series of Funding Fundamentals, CWELCC Explained. I hope you found these discussions insightful. If you have any questions, thoughts, or topics you'd like for us to explore, feel free to reach out. I'm Ashley McMullen, and thanks for listening.